we have with us the one and only, the most talented photographer in the city, someone who is going to become a force to be reckoned with in the courtroom, not only in Memphis, but across the country. We have with us Gabby Duffy, okay?
Everybody make some noise. Hey!
Make some noise. We got Gabby in the building.
Yeah.
Appreciate the love.
He's gonna chop it up with us about a few different things. First of all, y'all, I want to say happy Black History Month. I hope you're having a good month so far. I know it means a lot to me. I'm sure it means a lot to you all as well. So before we even get started, Gabby, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience, who is Gabby? Who is Gabrielle?
Who is she?
You know what all happened one day 24 years ago. No, I'm not gonna go like that. But I am a photographer. I am a law student. I am just someone that is trying to take each day step by step, one foot in front of the other, and embrace every opportunity that comes toward me. So in short, that is Gabrielle Duffy.
Right on.
So Gabby, you mentioned that you are in law school. I believe this is your second year in law school. Is that correct information?
That is.
Fantastic. So you are looking at becoming an entertainment lawyer, or at least something close in that field of law, right?
Yes, that is an avenue I'm exploring. Definitely open to exploring.
Okay. And then, so my question would be, what is it about like the intellectual property side of law do you think is so important for particularly Black people to understand about protecting their ideas and getting patents on their ideas and all that type of stuff? Why is it so important?
I would say because first and foremost, I think for any creative, your art it's a part of you. And so you want to take care of it. You want to protect it to the utmost. And intellectual property law really goes into that. So regardless of if it's considered what they call a trade secret, a patent, a trademark, a copyright, those are all parts of intellectual property, which is basically just, they are not physical forms of property, but a lot of times what can be considered an idea, and then if you go deeper into it, sometimes you can't even use the term actually idea to have what is yours protected. But it's so important because at the end of the day, it's being a creative, it's a passion to it, but it's a career. And so you want to be treated well and treated fairly. And with that, knowing your intellectual property rights helps you achieve that. Basically, so someone doesn't rip you off for your work at the end of the day. You, as a creative, it is your livelihood. It is how you make money. It's how you go into the world. And at the end of the day, you pay your bills with it too. So you don't want to get run over. You don't want bigger companies trying to get you to sign contracts that you don't know the terms and conditions of. And especially for a lot of Black people and Black artists, that's something that we're not taught, that we're not even privy to seeing. And I know as just a student that it's a struggle in law school. I'm not going to sugarcoat it one bit. I have been, it's an uphill battle for me. And so just knowing that as a student who has gotten the opportunity to see that side of law and actually learn about it, the people that don't get the opportunity to learn about it, it's really hard for them to understand these terms and conditions, because it's hard for us as students who have a few more resources than others. And so it's really important that as an artist, and specifically a Black artist, that you know your rights, that you protect what is your passion, what's your livelihood, and that you're treated fairly, and intellectual property rights go toward that.
This man's big. I wanted to follow that up by saying, so I know you just said like a lot of artists in general, Black artists especially, they're not very well educated on IP stuff. So I know you and I have had many conversations where like feel like we have been ripped off, or at least me. You pretty smart, so like it happens less, I would assume. But like I have been a victim to these bigger companies like undercharging me or like overusing my images, and I can't do anything about it because like I didn't read the fine print or I didn't go out the way to sign a contract and stuff. So I wanted to ask, have you implemented your knowledge in law school into your own personal craft thus far?
Not to the extent that I would like to. So I still need to rework and have a very like solid body for a contract that I want to put forth this year. I'm hoping by the end of the month latest that I have pretty much a standard contract that I do actually want to obviously incorporate just the general terms and conditions from templates, but create my own and really get into the thick of the weeds of what I want to be known to the people that buy my artwork, the people that solicit work from me, the people that hire me for different things. So I haven't fully put together all of my contractual terms to do that, and that's something I got to work on. We all got something to work on here, but I will say that I do upfront a lot of times verbally kind of tell people how things work, and I try to lay that out as well as possible. When I have email correspondence, I try to lay that out. Anytime I have an invoice, I do have contractual terms in there, especially the bigger companies. So they know how I expect them to use the work that they get from me, basically. And so those are kind of short in terms of conditions, but I do want to make it a lot more solid and basically where you can't miss it. And if you do, well, there may be consequences. So
You said you finna sue people, okay? Okay.
I ain't saw that, but definitely, like you said, we don't want to get ripped off, because at the end of the day, us as artists, when you think about it, it's kind of like a small business. We are the quote unquote little guy if we haven't made all the connections yet. So you gotta look out for yourself too. You want to be fair, you want to be generous, you want to be kind to people, and you want to be understanding, just like you'd hope they'd be to you. But at the end of the day, if you're not looking out for yourself, who is? You can't expect anyone else to, not the way you will.
That's a word. I also have one other question. So since you are like in law school for all this stuff, when you get out, are you gonna want to like represent like small people? So like like me and Stu, like we're photographers, we're not signed to any big company that handles it for us. Would you do like independent stuff like that, or would you want to work with like a big firm, or what is that? What does that post grad life look like?
Ooh, man. When I said one step at a time, it's literally me getting through semester by semester first before we even talk about that. But ideally, I think I would start out as far as my main job being in some type of bigger firm or company as an in-house lawyer, just because I know that for me, that'll have some type of job security as far as like a salary. But because I know as far as like hours and pro bono and different things like that, as a lawyer, you have obligations to do that. It's part of, passing the bar and just within keeping your license that you have to do ever so often. I believe it's like annually you have to do a number of hours. And so I think that's where I would devote that time, and I would use that to really learn about it as I go. So obviously I'm going to learn more because I'm in my second year of school. I still have time to learn more in school and through internships and clerkships and jobs and stuff like that beforehand. But I think a lot of the pro bono work, I may start off with people I know once I feel like I've got a little bit more steady footing with the material to be able to help people. And so I think that's how I'd start that off. And eventually, yes, I would like to work with the artists, independently, but I know it's going to take some time, and a lot of times, like just like artists have to get established, like in any profession, like you need to get established. So for me, I would want to get established as well, as a lawyer, and I think my first steps to doing that would probably be within a bigger, either a firm or probably a company, in-house first, but definitely pro bono. First thing I'm probably going to is going to be the artist.
So I have a question then. Is there a reason that you chose to go to the University of Memphis in comparison to other schools? Was it strictly money based, or was it their type of program that they had for students? Like what all went into you choosing the University of Memphis for your law school?
Being point blank honest, they gave me the most money, first off. At the time, I had applied, I think, to maybe 9 law schools. I was accepted into 7 and didn't get in one, and then waitlisted on another. And so with that, one of the ones I got in would have been great if they gave me a little bit more money. So it was Howard. But yeah, man, it looks nice, but I'm not rich, so sometimes you got to go with the more affordable option, and Memphis was that for me. It was also home, and so I've actually never lived anywhere other than Memphis, so that also went into it. I did definitely want to venture out. That was my first thought. Like for years, I've been ready to leave out the city, but becoming a creative has really tied me back into the city because I've been able to see a different side of it that I didn't know before. Before I picked up a camera, man, there's so many different people I would have never met. There's so many different places I would have never seen. And it's all in a city I've been in since I was born. And so I think that's part of it too. So the money was a big factor. Really Memphis becoming home in a new way since I've stepped into young adulthood, in my 20s and everything. That's a factor, the people I've met here, and I think the good I can still do here. And then being there, there's definitely been ups and downs with U of M law, but I will say for the most part, like the teachers, the professors are very attentive to your needs. They want to help you. And I do really appreciate that as well. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad to hear that. And I also have another question for you, but it's not necessarily like related to entertainment law. I want to talk about the criminal side, so like criminal law. So I don't know if you saw, but the mayor has really been pushing to allow people who don't live in the city of Memphis and then in Shelby County to police, our neighborhoods across the city, even if they don't like live here. And I just want to know your thoughts on that because I know the city council is pretty split on that. So I was wondering, what were your thoughts on that? Should people who don't live somewhere be able to police a neighborhood or a community?
Interesting. I didn't see that particular statement. Did you say it was by the mayor that said that? Or
the mayor is pushing for it, as well as one of the senators. I can't remember his name at the moment.
Okay. I hadn't heard that, but I do know in the past, just knowing people in law enforcement, I remember when I was in high school, there were people that they lived in like the Germantown area, but a lot of them, they policed in Memphis. And I mean, I guess the smaller suburb within the bigger city. But I can definitely see issues with it because you don't know the people there. You don't know the difference and the culture. You don't know the difference. And it's crazy to think, but Memphis is one of those places. It's like everything's a rock their way, where Midtown's a rock their way from North Memphis. But you step in one area and it's a completely different scene. And so I don't know if I go as far to say it's unfair, in the sense of it also depends on the availability of law enforcement in the area, the willingness to be able to step up and be law enforcement in that particular area, and the need for it and how many officers are actually needed in those areas. And if it's a higher percentage, then they have that are stepping up that are from that area to work there, I can understand being branched out, because that's the same idea as we drive in places like Germantown and Bartlett and Collierville, and we see police on the side of the road, and someone may have gone 2 miles an hour over, and they pull you over for a ticket, and you're like, y'all ain't doing nothing, y'all just sitting there. So it's also on the flip side thinking, okay, well, if you've got people like that who really are just kind of like trying to meet the quota, per se, of like how many tickets they need to give out, in these smaller suburbs that may have less need for the law enforcement. And now they're saying, okay, people that are further out can now come into an area that has a higher need for law enforcement. I wouldn't be super quick to push it away, but I can see the cons as well if you don't understand that how you live and your part of the city may be different than someone that's just 10, 15 miles away from you. And attending to what would be their need but may not be yours is important too. Being sympathetic and understanding of that is important too. Being someone that doesn't necessarily rush to judgment, just at the snap of your fingers is important too. And I will say with the law aspect, I took criminal law and I'm in criminal procedure now. And it's so interesting how much discretion police have. Like in some instances, they may need probable cause. In others, they may just need reasonable suspicion. And others, it may be even less. And it's really just their discretion if they think the matter may be dangerous enough or harmful, potentially harmful to them or others, where they can go in and they can take over the situation. So I'm kind of split on the issue of, is it unfair or not? I think there's a lot of variables and a lot of factors to consider first, but at the end of the day, those need to be considered. They need to be talked about. They need to be weighed. And I think the people in the area should at least have a voice in it, if nothing else, through like city council meetings, because those are open to the public. And I know it's harder during these COVID times to probably do that, but I'm sure there's like town hall meetings that at least they should be doing via Zoom or something. So I think the people in those areas should have a say. I think a lot of variables need to be weighed. And I think from there, that's where you can make those decisions, because it's hard choices, but I wouldn't shut it out completely just off top without looking at everything.
Very intellectual response, Miss Gabby. Very intellectual response indeed.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what to say. I guess it's just how I talk sometimes.
I feel like I just got like a breakdown of like a chapter from a law book. Like, okay, I think I understand now. Wow.
Goodness.
So I was having a conversation with someone from work the other day, and he was talking about how Madam CJ Walker stole the formula for the beauty and hair products that she was selling that, projected her to become the first, I think, either female billionaire or the first billionaire in the US. And he was saying he stole it from the woman that she started out working for. And he was asking me if I thought that she was a thief for doing that. My response was, I wouldn't say she stole it per se, like ingredient for ingredient, because if she did, I feel like the other woman would have sued her for that, because the other young woman, she had like a higher like social status and more money than Madam CJ did. And she was also light skinned, like way more light skinned in comparison to Madam CJ. So I feel like that definitely would have helped her case, especially during those times. So I said, I think she like got like a key, I guess, compound, if you will. And she put her spin on it, or added some things or took away some things, and it made it her own. So that then spiraled into a conversation about he doesn't really believe that colorism is an issue within the Black community. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. So number one, do you think it's stealing something if you change it up? And then number two, do you think there is the issue of colorism within the Black community? And if so, give examples that you have experienced or read about.
Okay. With the first one, I think that all depends on exactly how Madam CJ kind of came about the formula. If they were working together, and in a sense, it was kind of partially both of theirs. As far as the creation, maybe not. You can definitely tell I've had school on the brain, because it made me think. I'm like, so you said she took part of it. Maybe she reverse engineered it, and you can reverse engineer and get by without having infringement that way. But hey, I don't know all the facts of it. I need the facts for it. But I'm not sure to say, but it's a possibility. Like, if she didn't copy it like verbatim the formula, then that's different. I will say that, like, copying a math formula versus a chemical compound is different as far as intellectual property goes. It is more likely to be infringement if it's a chemical formula. And it's not necessarily if it's a math problem, because it's not something with the same newness to it. With a chemical compound, like, that's really like mixing things. That's really creating, in a sense. And so maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Again, I don't know all the facts, but it's all possibilities, just depending on how you look at it. And as far as the second question you said about colorism, I would say yes, colorism is still prevalent. Maybe not as much to some people than others. I know personally, like, I'm light skinned, as you can see. And yeah, I can't get away from that. I will say that something that was told to me really young by my parents was that, really, we all have a form of it, in a sense that if you're not as dark as, I don't know, say this remote here, if you're not that Black, obviously we were all done wrong, because there'd be no other way that we got lighter than this. And so that's something to think about too. So at the end of the day, the way you treat people shouldn't be based on the color of their skin. I know that it is. That's an inevitable reality. And within our community, it's really sad that we were first split by quote unquote the man, because that's what they did. They split us from top to bottom. They put the lighter skinned people in the house because they were closer in skin tone to the white people that made them lighter, and others that were darker were not. And so they put them out in the fields, and that was really part of the earlier days. And I'm sure there's even more further back than that, maybe through the actual, the slave trade, and, everyone being shipped over actually from Africa to where we are now, So yeah, it's an age-old problem. I think it's still relevant today. I just think we see it in different ways. And within, like, our community, man, it's one of those things where when people say, oh man, if you don't speak on it, man, then you could be part of that problem too, type thing. And I'm like, I'm never going to end up standing by something that I don't support or believe in, and just be silent in the sense of, me thinking, I'm just not going to get in this right now. I'm not going to do that. And I'll definitely back up anyone that feels like they have been a victim of colorism, because I do believe it's real, and I do believe it's wrong, and I do believe it's something that, man, I hate that we deal with, because we get enough of it from other people that aren't within our race. When I was on the shoot, I think it was right before our shoot, Noah, that we had with Carl and Gabrielle. Yeah. She brought up the whole thing about, like, Danny Lay, who I don't think she's even Black. She may be, like, Dominican, I believe.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah, that whole issue about how she kind of made a song, and it was a very high possibility that it was about the baby's baby mama because that's who she's with now and everything. And so stuff like that, just little like flower remarks, that's not cool either. We're all supposed to want to work together for better. And that's not everyone's intention because, you know, we're not perfect beings in this world. And we were, you know, there's a part of everyone that just is selfish, myself included, everyone else. And it's something that we've got to all work toward to see the other side of the coin. At the end of the day, we're in this together and nothing's going to get better unless we're united. That's something I truly believe in. Unity is so important for anything. And so with colorism, all that does is split us further. And it takes every one of us, like, I can't be the only person. Noah can't be the only person. Stu can't be the only person. You know, we all have to work piece by piece, but also realize that each of us, as, you know, a part of the whole, it helps the situation if we're coming out and we're speaking up about it and saying something, or at least standing behind those that have the stories that we may not have, and hearing them out. Like that's so important too. So with colorism, I think it is something that is still present. I just think it may be shown in different ways, and it's something that we all have to work together to hopefully change the narrative. And it's not necessarily an easy thing, but it's made a lot harder if we don't work together to do it. So. Appreciate the air claps.
Very well articulated.
That was good, bro. Well, Stu, you want to wrap it up?
Yes, sir. My final question to you is, what are you going to do tomorrow to help change the life of a Memphian? It could be you inspiring them. It could be you sending them something that you think will benefit them in regards to their profession or anything like that. What are you going to do to change the life of a Memphian tomorrow?
That's something I didn't really think about. I like that question. Good one there. I think something that is so important for us to do every now and then that I've benefited from, that I'll go ahead and implement for tomorrow morning, that I'll do, just reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody, maybe multiple people that I know, even if I haven't reached out to them in a while, and just wish them, you know, a good morning, a good day. Say that if they need anything, I'll be there for them. You know, just even saying hello sometimes can be the most impactful thing. I remember some years ago, it was someone that I don't even talk to anymore right now, but he sent me a text out of the blue and was just like, hey, I hope you just have a really good day today. Like, good morning, I hope you have a good day today. And it was crazy because we weren't even close, even at that time. And it can change your perspective when you know that someone out there cares about you, when you know that someone out there is thinking about you, when you know you're not the only one in this world. You know that you're not the only one feeling the things you do. And like I said before, just that we're together in this, you know, we're individuals, but it's so important for unity to be realized, love to be realized. So I think that's what I am going to do tomorrow. Just reach out to someone and, you know, wish them a good day. Say if they need anything that I can do for them, I'm there for them. You know, I'm praying for them for good health, safety, guidance, well-being, and just a peace of mind, especially in this day and time.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
I might do the same thing.
There you
see,
go.
that's I'm already getting inspired. I ain't even a Memphian.
Yeah, you know, it's our neighbors from Jackson, Tennessee.
Jacksonians running it up.
Hey, I can't say nothing. That's where half my family's from. So, you know, love out there.
Thanks, cousin.
Right,
Thank you, Gabby, for joining us. We really appreciate you. We love you. We want to see you do great and amazing things. Continue to build your legacy and impacting other people. And with that, we will give you a goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.